Welcome back to INDIKA. At the end of the last episode, we use a giant machine to chop Ilya's arm off. And he's still unconscious. He hasn't reacted to it yet.
Quiet. It's all good. It's all good. Shh. Lie down. Everything's going to be all right. Otherwise you would have. But lie down. Shush.
It's against God's plan. You went against God.
Against God? Not in the slightest. This is not that bad. Please, be still. Be quiet, please. Please.
Not that bad, huh? Will it go back?
Why not? It's not like it's harder for God to work one miracle than...
You didn't believe in it from the start. You were angry that a miracle could happen to me.
No.
To a person like me.
No.
I'm so dumb and jealous. Give me an injection.
None left.
All this time, this wasn't just empty talk.
I know.
All this philosophy. Joyce, God doesn't talk to me anymore since I met you. No, leave me. I'll be on my own.
I'm sorry.
Don't touch me.
So at the end of the last episode, I basically hinted that I might quit the game, or at least quit playing the game on video for a little while, because I just didn't want to give away the ending. I wanted to maintain a reason for people who watch my videos
time since meeting
to go and play this game themselves, because I think the game deserves all kinds of success. So I actually went and I played the rest of the game myself. I've already beaten it, and I used chapter select to come back to sort of show you a little bit more, mostly just because I wanted to come back and enthuse about how good this game is, and how glad I am that I played it. And before I was just playing it live with you, having not seen anything before, and I didn't know how it turned out. But now I can basically full-throatedly recommend this game. It's I love everything about it. Just thematically, it's doing things I don't see other games doing ever. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go. But anyway, so that's what I'm doing. So I actually have already solved these things. I'm going to look a little bit smarter this time around than I did the first time, because I already know how to solve the puzzles.
INDIKA felt a stab of doubt. What if she'd made a mistake? What if she had done something wrong? What if the Kudets wouldn't work? Why was every step on her road to God drawing her closer to the devil?
I did everything correctly. Otherwise he would have died from sepsis.
And if he didn't? There, he's healed, a miracle. Wouldn't feel good, would it? That means he was indeed talking to God and earned his absolution.
God, please. Talk to me this one time. How did I go against you? Is it in my power to intervene in your design? Is this a part of your plan? Is this how it's supposed to be? You will be all right. The arm will heal. Ilya will live.
So
now I have to feel guilt for this as well? You can see I'm trying. But he's always behind my shoulder.
Me again. You were driven by fear. The fear of ending up with a corpse. And back then, with the gypsy, what was it? Were you restless because of his tanned arms?
Okay, I think that's the last line of dialogue. This game, actually, the closest thing that I think I've ever seen that was similar to sort of the vibe of this game was The Messenger. I don't know. That was it was a Joan of Arc movie from, I think it was either the 90s or the early 2000s. But it was a similar thing. It was telling the story of Joan of Arc. But she had basically a devil on her shoulder, talking to her all the time. Not on her shoulder like a cartoon. But there was a devil character who was constantly bothering her, tempting her, making her wonder if she was insane. But actually, by the end of the movie, that character is actually her closest ally, and is he gets her through it, and he's actually not bad. You know, and I get the same vibe from this, that, you know, so far this devil character, that she treats this voice like it's the devil, because it is encouraging her to, you know, to question all of the morals and standards and expectations that she's been raised with. She treats it like the devil. It has not asked her to do anything evil. At least not by any sort of like the definition that I recognize. It definitely asks her to question her institutions and her societies, but it's not actually telling her to hurt anyone, if I remember correctly. And so I just sort of, I kind of love that for that, you know, that this, they've got this character who is sort of skinned as the devil, but over the course of this game, you actually start feeling like, you know, everyone in her life, all of the people in her life who say that they stand for goodness, and they stand that, you know, that they are right and correct, and they're making the world proper. Those people are all hurting her. They're hurting her. They're hurting Ilya. But this voice that she's hearing, it's the only thing that's helping her. It's the only thing that's freeing her, making her sort of see the world in a new light that actually might make her a better person. And actually might make her happier. You know, one of the a thing that I heard recently that I feel like is really applicable to this is I listened to Robert Evans. He's the host of the Behind the Bastards podcast, and he does a bunch of other stuff too. But he was doing an episode about a bunch of people who I won't get into the details because it's kind of dark, but people who basically they believed in a philosophy that they thought was good, and in service of that philosophy, they did a lot of terrible things. And he said that, you know, that you know, and every side is vulnerable to that. The people that he was talking about were people who are of his same political bent. Like, they were people that normally he would be on the side of, that he would be, you know, that he would be aligned with them and lined up with their goals. But they turned that philosophy into justifying something terrible. And he said, you know, whatever you believe, whatever political philosophy you have, if you think that your solution is to fix people, and, you know, then rather than supporting people and helping people, then you're probably going to talk yourself into doing something terrible. You know, like if your moral inclination is there are people out there who are suffering, I have to go out and help them. Almost no matter what your political philosophy is, that's going to lead you to do something that's probably good and positive. If your political philosophy, if the way you approach your political philosophy is, all these people are bad, I need to bend them out of shape and fix them because people need to be made better, that's going to be how you justify treating people terribly and making the world worse. Almost no matter what your goals are, you're going to make a bad decision. So the first time I did that, I thought I had completely screwed up this puzzle. And I was like, oh no, this thing wasn't supposed to fall sideways. Oh, there's a physics bug. It messed up the whole thing. So I thought, I'm going to have to pick this up and I have to drag it somewhere. And, this is all messed up. And so I actually, on a knee-jerk thing, I restarted the level, thinking I wasn't going to go back as far as I did. I ended up going back all the way to that cutscene with Ilya and running all the way back here, which was annoying. But actually, no, I just made a bad assumption. Just because it has wheels on the bottom doesn't mean they actually intend you to use the wheels the whole time. The reason we pushed this down was to create another path to get right back up the way that we came. And because of that, we can now disrupt the path that brought us there. We can raise this thing up a couple of steps. Is that enough? Is that the right number of steps? I think that's the right number of steps. Take that thing up, and now that we've got a second way up here, we can climb further up the tower. And we're out of the fish factory.
The Temple of John of Damascus. The one from the poster was towering over INDIKA. She was consumed by anxiety more and more. What if she was late? What if they realized who she was and wouldn't let her in? What if she was not worthy of a miracle? Maybe one needed to buy a ticket to see the miracle, and all the tickets had sold out. What if her certainty in God's plan was just another delusion, a temptation she so faint-heartedly succumbed to?
So I got a little lost here the first time through. Mostly because I didn't see these steps. So I walked all the way down here. And there are pickups and collectibles. Like this one. Though actually, I don't think this one's even collectible. I think it's just, hey, check it out, a shoe. So I don't know what's going on there. But I feel like that might have just been an interesting little piece of cultural and historical trivia that the team wanted to include. So another reason, by the way, that I wanted to come back and play this game and make another video about this game is because I actually found a video online made by, or at least narrated by, the director of this game. Dmitry... Oh, crap. His last name begins with an SV. His name's Dmitry, though. And he put together this video partly because I think that part of the reason he did it was because he's Russian. I think his team has Russian roots. And, there's a lot of kind of push out there to not deal with Russian companies because of, Russia's war that they're pursuing in Ukraine. And it was really important, especially, I think, to their publisher, 11-Bit, who is a Polish company who's taken a very strong stance against the war, against the Russian invasion. That like working with a Russian company could be pretty rough. Now, I don't think that the folks who made this are actually based in Russia, because I think that making a game like this with the intent that they had with this game, I think would be dangerous if they were in Russia. But they do still have Russian backgrounds. This game is, set in Russian culture. And so, yeah, so I think it was important for them to sort of say something about, like, what that means to them, how where they stand. And it was a really great video because it kind of contextualizes. I mean, the game is not directly about the war in Ukraine. It's not some some allegory or something like that. But what it is it's a criticism, and I think we kind of were picking up on this in the previous episode. It's a criticism of the mindset where you sort of allow big cultural institutions to tell you who you are and how to think, and sort of they're talking about almost about the gamification of your life and your philosophy, the way that institutions can create these models for you to think of yourself as being good or evil, sinful or pure, approved or shamed. And these things they're mostly, I mean, they make this really big point in sort of their leveling system in this game about how the only thing that the experience points do is give you access to more experience points. It's a closed system that doesn't benefit you in any way in the game. And they sort of are making this analogy to a lot of other like big cultural institutions, like, organized religions, like a lot of other things, that where basically people will sort of suborn their own will to this thing. They'll basically let this thing frame, what is right and wrong for them. instead of sort of like listening to their own conscience, their own sense of compassion, they'll sort of take their cues from this larger institution that will sort of create this almost like we talk about gamification of things, where you basically turn something into a video game to sort of manipulate your own motivations. And sometimes you can use that in a positive way. Like I'll use an app to track my calories when I want to lose weight, and the app sort of succeeding at that feels like a reward, and it's not it's an extrinsic reward for the actual thing I want to do, which is be healthier. But gamifying it makes it easier, and so you can use gamification in positive ways, but people can also use it in negative ways to sort of like create incentives for other people in order to control them, in order to reframe discussions about power and values and things like that, and sort of build the world the way they want to by manipulating other people. But the people who are being manipulated, sometimes they are made absolutely miserable by this stuff. It doesn't help their lives in any way. And and I'm not saying that all of these things are bad. Like I said, there are very good ways that you can use these techniques too. You can, but you have to be very cautious with them, because it is so easy to take a person and mess them up by framing their lives in a way that, that they're constantly judging themselves against some impossible and sometimes fabricated standard.
Give it back. You read it.
What happened to your hair?
So anyway, the video, I'll link the video at the end of my video, but basically the video that Dimitri made, it highlighted basically what he hoped people would learn from this game, which is about questioning institutions, and he analogized that to folks in Russia who support kind of whatever the Russian government decides to do, and he sees that as being rooted a lot in this same sense of like, there are these cultural institutions that tell me if I'm good or bad, and I have to stick to whatever I'm told I need to do in order to measure up to the expectations of these institutions. And he says that he feels like that basically people are manipulated by this into supporting things that ultimately cause a great deal of harm. And so it was a really kind of cool and powerful statement, and I really liked it. So that's why I'm going to link it at the end of the video. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to make this video, even though we're close to the end of the game and I didn't want to get too far. I just really wanted to highlight that, because I think this game is I don't know, this game has been important to me. The way that The Messenger actually was really important to me when I watched it.
You don't like it?
In my late teens, early 20s.
The prioress cut it as punishment. It wasn't a big deal. I burned Father Sergei's Felonian.
So I didn't fully understand early on, because I think this might just be a like a cultural thing. When they've been talking about the Kudyetsk, I didn't actually know what that, or Kudyets, something like that. I didn't actually know what that was. What it is, it's some kind of holy relic. So the Kudyets has come to town, and it's being stored at this same church that she's headed towards, that she was sent to go to. He was trying to get there so that he could basically interact with this thing and have a miracle and have his arm be healed. And so that's why he's on his journey. But they got held up in the fish factory when he fell unconscious and was sick, and so now they're running late to go and try to find this thing. And I think she's interested in it too, because she feels a great deal of shame and rejection, and the sense that she is evil, that she is being, that she's subject to the devil, and she feels like she needs to be healed of some moral injury. And so both of them are kind of seeking the same thing. She's a little bit more skeptical than he is, but even despite the fact that she's smart and skeptical and thinks through things in a very clever way, she still feels utterly subject to this sense of shame imposed on her by her society and by her own conscience. Because, well, we might or might not, before I quit, see what's haunting her. So this is an interesting spot, by the way. So have a look at this entryway to this puzzle area. I'm going to walk inside. Okay. and then there's a load. And there's a reason why there's a load. Because now that I'm inside, this exit goes somewhere completely different. The doorway behind me goes into a very weird room where, look, there's this writing on the floor. There's a furnace on the wall. Well, look, it's this same room, but turned 90 degrees. And I just love how surreal this game is. Like, there's no boundary between when she is in the real world and when she's in sort of an exaggerated world, kind of maybe of her own design because of her madness and sort of just the extremity that she's been driven to by her society. It's just all one thing for her. Like, for her, there's not a real world and a dream world. There's just the world that she lives in, and it's twisted beyond all recognition. So I think what I want to do, I don't remember exactly. I've played this before, but I forgot. I think that I want to come falling out of that door and land on this. But I don't remember how to do that because I think I kind of need this to get through my version of the door. Hey, did you see that? So if you've played Portal, you've seen this kind of thing before, where you can kind of see your character through a portal, but that doesn't look like me. That looks a little like a demon. And I love that they've constructed this room so that the demon is only visible through the corner of your eye. You can't really see him most of the time, but you just get these little hints that you are the devil. And I think that speaks really well to her emotional experience. That she's got this nagging feeling that there's something deeply wrong with her. And that's imposed on her by her society, but it's driven her mad. And now when she sees her own reflection, or when she sees whatever she's seeing here, she sees herself as the devil. Okay, I've done this wrong. I think I was supposed to turn this around a different way or push it a little bit deeper because it's not working. So let's see, what am I able to do here? Because I would expect to at least be able to climb up on these platforms, but I can't. I wonder... Oh, wait, I can. Oh, I can just barely... Where did that go? I saw a prompt. Oh no, have I messed myself up? I think maybe they intend for me to be able to... Oh, it was right there. It was right there. I think they intend for me to be able to get up on this thing. But I think that I've arranged the pieces in just a perfect way so that I can't. Okay, cool. Oh, dang! I might have to restart, but I keep getting this tantalizing sense that maybe I can get out of here. Maybe I can pull this off. Dang. Luckily, I'm pretty sure that the load right at the beginning of this level means that if I hit restart level, we only go back a couple minutes. Yeah, here we are. Okay, so here's what I think we need to do. Grab this. We put it up against this wall. And so, yeah, so this... Oh, there's my demonic self again. Being seen from above, I guess? So I need to pass through that. Basically, so this room is sort of weirdly interconnected at these odd 90-degree angles. And I honestly, I don't understand the geometry of this well enough. To really grok it in my head. I just know that once I climb through that thing once, I'm now in a version of the room that's rotated differently. So if I now grab this, I think, put it here, and this time, look, I'm putting the platform textured side of it forward. Let's make sure. Yeah, okay, so this is butted right up against the other platforms. It's now very walkable. And then I backtrack into here, and now I can drop through the hole in the wall Well, let's be careful here. Let's make sure we don't land on something stupid. Onto that. And now, okay, this is the spot where I couldn't climb before. Now I can walk over here. I can jump down on these ducts. And now we're through. Okay, I've got no idea what that last bit was. I actually, so when I, oh, you gotta pause it here. So when I decided I wanted to make a fourth video about INDIKA, I decided that was where I wanted to end because it's just so, what was that? Anyway, so we've just reached the level that is called Saint John of Damascus, I think, something like that. It's the name of the temple that they're headed to. And there is actually one of the most bizarre, surreal, and amazing puzzles. Like, you just saw me play a surreal and amazing puzzle. There's an even more bizarre and surreal puzzle right after this that I thought was really, really fun. And then you get into the ending. You get, you see some revelations about her past that sort of contextualizes what she's been feeling this entire time. And I think it makes you sort of like understand where she's coming from. And then there's an ending. And I don't want to get into any of the details of it because I really want people to go and discover this game themselves. So I played it a little bit longer, mostly because I just wanted to talk about how excited I was about it, and just load it with compliments, and also highlight that video by the game director, which we'll stick at the end of this, at the end screen. But yeah, no, this game was not only just like entertaining me as a game designer, but just like the clever, weird decisions that they keep making that are just surprising. It's just not what you would expect from any kind of game like this. Like, it was like, I don't know, pitching this game had to be insane because like, it's how it comes together that really makes it work. And so I've been really sort of impressed by the wild artistic swings that they took with it. But I also really appreciated it on just sort of a thematic level, like what it's trying to say. Like, it's trying to, get people to think about, what framing of their life do they accept? Are there things that they, that are making them miserable and making them worse people that they've accepted just because everyone around them has accepted it? And that's just sort of the structure and the expectations of their society. And are there ways that you can sort of step back and rethink, what you've thought of as, about society's expectations on you, what, moral expectations are placed on you, and, question, are they right? Because, I mean, there are very important moral things that it matters to get right. But they don't always line up with the institutions that we're born into, raised in, surrounded by. And it's important for somebody, like INDIKA, someone to be like INDIKA and, to question these things and to listen to, the voices inside of you that cry out that there's something wrong with your life and sort of the way that you've been framing things for yourself. And so I think, for me, it spoke to me a lot. And so I just wanted to make sure that people understood this is a really cool game, and I feel like it's an important game. So go and check it out yourself. Seriously, I really hope this game ends up being successful enough for the folks who made it. And yeah, and I think the ending's great. So anyway, let's wrap this up with an end screen. And in lieu of a new video from me, I'm going to put that video that 11-Bit put out with the game director right there. So click on that if you want to see what I was talking about, and let him contextualize the game for you.